notice things.
Back to my head, that's so.
We went about 30. What about 35, 38?
All right, we are module 8.
Do it.
And the infinite paradox. Don't people die off of pills though?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you overdose, you can die for
cardiac
anything.
arrest.
It would not surprise me.
My buddy took one called Night Walker, and then at a senior trip, and I woke up and he was on the ground going. And I was like, Tyler, he's just. I'm like, he's night walking. And I told him the next day. He said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, dude. Eventually you got to your bed."
Sounds like something for like a hooker, like
Whatever it was.
Whitewash.
I shouldn't have recorded.
You were walking.
Edit that real
Page 1. I've got 4 highlights in the trade terms. The first one is highlighted as an online test question. Austenitic stainless steel is the most common of stainless steels, consisting primarily of iron, chromium, and nickel. All stainless steel has to have, I think it's like 18% chromium to be considered stainless steel. Something to note on stuff, like all stainless steel is not equal. Like if you go buy something from the dollar store that says stainless steel on it, it might last for a little while, but it'll start rusting. Like it doesn't have as much chromium as like your nicer,
More expensive stuff.
Right.
They got like 304. They got all kinds of different.
Yeah, there's definitely different types of stainless steel. So it's not, you just need to know that it's not all the same.
Hey, sweet.
Dead leg is highlighted, an area that does not have flow during the cleaning operation and cannot be drained without special provisions.
That's what you do to take one.
Layup is highlighted, a condition in which a system or process is not in operation for an extended period of time and must be protected from corrosion or contaminants. What is the most common term for that? If you take a line or a factory or something, you shut it down for a while, and you're not might plan on using.
Lockout.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of mothballing a factory?
No.
Like
But when you say
that's what it's called. Like they have a lot of nuclear power plants are mothballed, and that just means that like everything is still in place and stuff like that. They put some stuff in the lines to make sure that nothing gets corroded. But that is called mothballing or layup. Like if you have like a line at work, I know at Zatarain's, they used to make mustard over there, and they don't anymore. So they mothballed or laid up the whole process. So maybe they might come back and do it.
Okay.
It's like I think like Elmer's hasn't always done Hershey's. Like that's just the last few years, right?
Yeah.
So like that they might have had some mothball equipment that they started back up or something like that.
Okay, we done that too.
Yeah, we had
Our Easter one's kind of like that because we only run Easter for like 2 months out of the year.
We had at this steel mill. You know how you have galvanized steel that has like it's like spangled, like it has like splotches and stuff. That is purely aesthetic. Like that has nothing to do with like how it's made or anything like that. Because like the big strip of steel just goes down in the zinc pot and then it's dried in a big tall cooling tower. Right after it comes out of the zinc pot, they had this machine and all it was like a big strip with like air nozzles on it. And it would just constantly like shoot those air nozzles, and that's what would create that
cool
that effect on. It would just kind of spread out the zinc in different ways right before it cooled.
I thought that was just part of the chemical reaction.
Purely aesthetic. So like they never used it whenever I was there. Like I remember like I was going up to work on something. I was like, what the hell is that? And like that's the mini spangle machine that's not used anymore because it's purely aesthetic. And it was only used for like certain customers that wanted that.
Maybe
so
stuff.
yeah, it was mothballed. Passivating is highlighted to make a passive or unwilling to react. For metals, passivating may be used to remove any surface iron and form a protective layer on surfaces to inhibit corrosion.
You said the first one was the All that stuff.
Yeah, the autistic stainless steel.
Next question.
How long you been working on that one?
I thought it right after you said it.
I missed it.
We're being recorded. First paragraph, last sentence is a highlight. Cleaning and purging of piping and tubing systems as well as install components is required. First paragraph, last sentence.
Robert, Monday, be back.
110, second paragraph, first sentence. For ferric steel piping, the inside surfaces may be cleaned by turbinizing to remove loose mill scale and heavy rust.
A lot of big words.
They also talk about pickling. I don't have it highlighted, but that's one of the lines that I worked on the steel mill was a pickle line, and that's where we use the hydrochloric acid and big brushes, and they actually clean the oxides and stuff off the steel. Huh?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You can't help you now, right?
Pretty invasive process. I did not, everything on that line rusted away no matter what it seemed like. That's also last chapter. I think I talked about when I taught electrical and stuff. Like all of our conduit and stuff on that line was Rob Roy, so it was rigid pipe, but it had like a plastic coating on it. And
Orange?
Is black.
Oh, okay.
This was black, and you had to before you threaded it, you had to take like a utility knife and like scratch it all off so you could actually thread it. It was a pain in the ass to work with because it didn't, and it also didn't fit in your bender correctly because it was extra wide. But it didn't rust. You put regular stuff there, it would rust. Pages 2 and 3. You can read through the bullet points in 111 for like general cleaning requirements for tubing and piping. I don't have anything on that. 120 cleaning and purging methods. 121 pickling. First sentence is highlighted. Acid cleaning or pickling is one of the most effective methods of cleaning tubing and piping. So you can actually do pickling. So this is some type of acid that they're dunking this in to make sure they get everything off. In that warning on page 3, the first sentence is highlighted. Excuse me, it's one highlight. The acids used in pickling are hazardous to people and the environment. Out to the side of that, I wrote why it's not used. You don't use pickling because it is pretty harmful to.
Well, if you don't use it, why is it on?
So you know about
It is used. I mean, like it's still used in the steel factories and stuff like that. It's kind of like they try not to use it or use something else.
Not widely.
The new thing we got this thing you just dip it in. And we drop it and come back later, put it up.
They make
Ultrasonic
cleaners. Yeah,
I mean,
pretty cool.
I'm not allowed to use those anymore.
you burn yourself.
What did you do?
An ultrasonic cleaner?
Yeah.
You burn yourself.
They have one in the old shop, and like we were trying to clean out this old thermolator,
Did you do something?
and we took a bunch of like rusty parts and threw them in there. And they're like, you can't use this shit no more.
You fucking
Well, you
shit.
probably
You're supposed to clean them
put a
out.
lot of
Yeah.
contaminants and stuff in the solution. And it was probably like that
Yeah,
stuff that's in there is expensive as crap. Like any kind of like parts washer stuff, like
Yeah.
So we got
It's
55 gallon
expensive
barrels,
to fill that. Yeah, those chemicals aren't cheap. So they probably
which I
probably
don't
would
know
have
what's
rather
involved.
like sandblasters. Y'all have sandblasters or anything?
Yeah, I used that for the first time. That was
We
fun.
have the sandblaster,
Bro,
but for
you
the
use
old
plastic
stuff, we usually use a nice
plastic
plastic
off the
because it's
barrel
less
or what?
abrasive on the material.
I was gonna say, we haven't tried nice blaster.
And the fact that you said it was rusty,
You don't
we
use
have
the same
everything to clean stuff, especially rust, so you can then dip it in to clean the interior. That's the entire point of the
Like,
job.
you know,
It was solidified too. It wasn't even like a little bit. It was
It took like
whole.
7 months just to get it done.
The second sentence in the warning is also
Not
highlighted.
sandblast them.
Second sentence in the warning. For this reason,
Whenever ready to go there.
pickling is usually done by outside contractors who have properly trained personnel in the facilities for handling, storing, and disposing of acids. That's a big part. Once the acid gets so dirty, You have to get rid of it. You have to pay a bunch of money to get rid of stuff like that. Chemical cleaning, 122, last sentence on the page is highlighted. Common sources of organic contamination are lubrication oils from air tools, preservative films, and valve lubricants.
Astro Pack. I think that's what his hat says.
Jared, did y'all replace the sand in the sandblaster?
No, I ain't able to do that.
Well, yeah, now it's got a bunch of shit ton of plastic in it.
Or so,
That's cool.
I think y'all are using sandblaster wrong.
yeah.
It's the thing when you put your fingers in, you got the gloves, and you got the barrel, you blow.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to use it
Y'all have
on the,
barrels this big?
No, it sticks out from either end, so you'll just, it's got a little
How are we using it wrong?
Like a
plastic, window.
Like a rubber grommet around it kind
No, I'm talking about something else.
Hold up.
no,
Wait,
wait, when you say barrel, what are you talking about? On the IMMs?
No, the injection,
No.
yeah, on the IMMs. You take out
Injection
the,
molding machine? Take out the barrel and the screw?
yeah, the screw. You
Y'all
take the screw out.
sandblast the inside of the barrel?
No, the screw.
No, the screw.
Oh, yeah, we were saying barrel with the screw.
I understand a little bit better now.
123, water flushing. Top right of page 4, where that I got that sentence as turbidity highlighted. A more scientific approach is turbidity, where the flushing fluid is tested for suspended particles to determine cleanliness using a beam of light.
I used to have a toothbrush sanitizer that worked like that. Or a toothbrush cleaner.
He used the light.
How did gold?
They shined it with light. You said it. Did you-
124, air cleaning. Second paragraph, last sentence of air cleaning is highlighted. Follow this process. A flush with water may be necessary to remove any remaining debris. Following this process, a flush with water may be necessary to remove any remaining debris. The warning at the top right of page 5 is highlighted. Never use oxygen as a cleaning or purging gas because of its reactivity and explosion risk with oil and other lubricants.
How do you even use oxygen? Oxygen is in the air.
Have you never heard of oxyacetylene?
Air is mostly wet.
Nitrogen.
It's like 75% nitrogen, so it's not oxygen. If you use pure oxygen, you're just increasing. Like, what are the 3 legs of a fire triangle?
You got oxygen, fuel.
And heat.
Fuel.
Ignition. Something like
Ignition,
that.
same
So if you increase oxygen, it makes it a lot easier to start a fire. So if you have 100% pure oxygen, it's a lot different than having just normal air.
What if we have 100% oxygen and I go?
Wait, what'd you say?
That's
Well,
the
well,
ignition.
I think 100% oxygen is not
100%.
explosive, but it is.
No, a lighter than 100% oxygen, I'm going.
It just is more,
It helps.
It'll
There's
still the
a bigger
flame
chance of
more,
fire if you have more oxygen.
But it
Like
won't
a cutting
explode.
torch, that's oxy.
Anyways,
acetylene,
we're trying to get home early.
Nitrogen cleaning and purging, 125. The second sentence is highlighted. Most forms of corrosion involve oxygen. So self-oxidizing. The last 2 sentences of that paragraph are an online test question. Since heat accelerates the oxidation process to an amazing rate, nitrogen should be fed through copper tubing during brazing and soldering operations. This prevents the copper oxides from forming. Next paragraph, first sentence is highlighted. The most common source for air and moisture-free purging is nitrogen. Next paragraph, first sentence is highlighted. Instrument air sources must be exceptionally clean and dry for instruments that rely on instrument air to operate efficiently, accurately, with minimal maintenance. That's why you use dryers on all your air compressors and stuff. I'll show you all the dryer on that air compressor. Whenever y'all do the pneumatic lab, I walk you out there and show you the air compressor and the dryer and the blow off and stuff like that. Steam cleaning, 126, first sentence. Steam cleaning is commonly used as a means of removing materials such as oils, grease, and preservatives from piping systems. Page 6, the paragraph right above the warning. I've got the sentence that's got the blue highlight in it highlighted. Most procedures for cleaning oxygen service lines include several additional steps to ensure the removal of oil or grease contaminants using caustic soda ash and other degreasing agents. Take a couple minutes and answer those two questions on page 6.
How do you do that?
What, you found one?
Yes. Where? I just knew him.
Oh, that's what you found.
All right, tie your horse up.
No. It's yours.
All his horses are in the stable.
That's what I'm watching for, like history book. Jingo and Sheen.
Why?
So stupid.
He
I
was,
thought you were gonna be like some educational thing.
They have like.
I mean, I'll probably also watch Glory, but
I mean, Glory.
Never watched.
I mean, you would choose the Django
never watched
where,
Glory.
well, that was Glory, where they let the
Oh,
men
you're
say
not
that.
watch the movies.
Who wants to help?
If you'd like Glory.
I don't believe so.
Do you like Denzel Washington?
Is Glory the basketball
Does
movie?
anybody here not like Denzel Washington?
I like Denzel Washington.
Why did
Yeah,
I like
somebody
Denzel
like-
Washington?
He's
Really
like
Denzel
real
Washington.
He's lying.
face, like,
Can
Nobody
you
does
explain the
that.
movie plot a little bit?
It's about
Like
the
Denzel
Oh, the
Washington.
football movie.
no, it's about the
Samuel
street
Jackson,
black
Morgan
Italian
Freeman.
or black.
Anytime they're in movies, it's alright.
U.S. history.
no.
Oh.
Samuel L. Jackson has made some bad movies.
Yeah, but he's also made way more enough good movies.
You know,
That's because he's made all the movies.
Yeah, no.
Maybe not
Samuel,
good
Samuel L. Jackson said he doesn't care what role he plays as long as he gets to build the world around what he likes. That's why he's the only one with a purple lightsaber in Star Wars. You know that?
He wanted
Because
to be different.
he was like,
That's
I'm
why
not.
he did Snakes on a Plane, because he wanted to do a movie, Snakes on a Plane, and they talked about changing the name. He said, I'll quit if you change the name.
Right. He only like he makes it like he don't care what the movie is as long as he
He gets to do his own thing.
gets his own do his own thing.
I'm tired of these.
That's all.
What is
But so I think he's a really good actor. He just doesn't pick and choose his roles. He just take all roles.
I mean, I like
Say
him as
what again?
Mr. Glass.
Say what again?
No, Invincible.
I like Samuel L. Jackson.
They had to make the purple lightsaber
I'm
uncanon all because of Samuel.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
I wasn't uncanon. They had purple lightsabers.
No,
Section review number 1.
That wasn't no purple lightsaber.
The inside surfaces of ferric steel piping may be cleaned by urbanizing. 2, pickling on a project site is a process usually done by outside contractors because Z. Acids are very hazardous and proper training is required to handle them.
It was
It's not
ages ago.
Plant
now.
personnel.
If it was an
are
interlock, if it was an interlock, it'd be C.
I'm empty handed. I got it.
Stronger. Sussy.
Section 2, leak testing. Top right of the page, that full paragraph up there, second sentence is highlighted. The generally accepted standards for leak testing of piping and tubing systems within the United States are set forth by the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME. Pressure and leak testing processes. Last paragraph on the page, the sentence with test medium in it. The temperature of the test medium will be that of the available source unless a specific temperature is required by a component manufacturer. Next sentence, in sensitive applications, the test procedure is not applied until both the system and the test medium are at or near the same temperature. So you're not putting something cold into something hot, something like you don't want this stuff to condense or expand or whatever. Like you want this stuff at the same temperature.
I like blonde.
First sentence on page 8 is highlighted. Unless specified by a higher authority, components to be leak tested may not be tested at a pressure exceeding 25% of the design pressure. When you are leak testing stuff, you're doing 25% of the design pressure.
Just like the workshop.
Selection criteria for testing methods, 211. Last sentence of the first paragraph is highlighted. However, radioactive gases may be used inside leak detection equipment when they can be safely confined within an integral test chamber. So they can put radioactive gases inside of a system and leak test stuff and see if there's any radioactivity that is emitted from the pipes and stuff like that.
That's like a terrible idea.
Well, that's why it says if it can be safely confined within an integral test chamber. So that has to be like one of the that has like absolutely down. Like if you're putting radioactive material through a process, probably the best way of testing leaks is by using radioactive material to see if it's leaking. I would guess. I don't know. I've never really worked with. I work with X-ray gauges and stuff, but nothing really radioactive. Testing methods 220. 221 initial service testing. Second paragraph, first sentence is highlighted. When performing an initial service test, the piping system must be gradually brought up to normal operating pressure, continuously held at a minimum of 10 minutes. So you don't slam the pressure on, you bring it up gradually. Pneumatic leak testing. Pneumatic leak test. First sentence of 222 on page 9 is highlighted. Pneumatic leak test requires a compressed gas or air source. Nitrogen and argon are popular gases used for this purpose. Why are they popular?
Because they are inert.
They are inert.
What that mean?
That means they're not going to react with anything.
Yeah, man, you so smart.
They're kind of like people at intro.
Sentence right before the bullet points is highlighted. Before pneumatic leak test is performed, certain requirements must be met. I highlighted the 5th bullet point. Tubing ends must be securely capped or terminated.
You are.
On the right-hand side of the page,
You are.
the last 2 sentences before 223 is an online test question. One popular brand of solution that is commonly used for liquid bubble leak test is Snoop, shown in figure 3. The solution shows light foaming, tiny bubbles around a small leak. A larger leak produces larger bubbles. I think
My dog owns a company and I didn't know.
You know what I'm saying, Snoop?
Yep.
Is it Snoop or Snoopy?
Snoop.
Oh, okay.
You got a dog?
Yes.
What'd you name
What?
your dog Snoop?
No, I mean, I didn't really name him. He kind of
That's
just came
what
with
his
the
name
name.
He said, my name dog.
The Boston dog?
He's
That's it, Snoop.
no.
That's what you said.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, it's not
The
Snoop.
dog-
Kinda making a
the
face
dog
like
takes
this
a
all
leak.
the time.
What the hell did you just say?
Does he have twists?
That is not at all what he said.
What did he say?
Who?
Me?
No, him.
What did he say?
Kenny?
So this is the stuff that we use. The guy that teaches instrumentation 1 and 2 is pretty he's the older guy that you talk to. He's old school, really good at putting stuff together. He worked at Air Products for 40 years. And this is the stuff that he recommends. I'm sure they haven't but this is tracks or whatever. And if y'all remind me when somebody's doing the pneumatic lab, I know that spot where we hook it up leaks and we can put some of this on and see some bubbles and stuff.
Nice.
I didn't know they made Dawn dish soap and a clear version.
That caution in 223 is an online test question. To avoid damage, do not perform hydrostatic leak tests on signal, instrument air, or instrument process lines connected to instruments.
Hydrostatic.
Page 10. First sentence on page 10 is highlighted. The grade of water is determined by its purity. Second sentence, for these purposes, the level of purity is determined by the amounts of fluorides in the water and the conductivity and resistivity. Next paragraph, second and third sentence are highlighted. Brittle fractures are cracks in tubes or pipes. They can occur when the temperature of the tested system is significantly different from the temperature of the testing medium. Two three one, performing a low pressure test using liquid leak detector solutions. In step 4, I have the third sentence highlighted. Use a pressure relief valve in the test connection as shown in figure 5 to avoid over pressurizing the system. So you can see we got our pressure, they got the gas source and then the tested system, but it has a pressure relief valve to make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on whatever instrumentation system that is. In that warning, first warning on page 10, the last sentence, I think it's the last 5 lines are highlighted. To reduce the potential for personal injury or significant equipment damage from excessive pressures, install a pressure relief device in the line connecting the pressure regulator outlet to the tested device or system. They're kind of the same highlight. Pages 12 and 13. Performing a high pressure hydrostatic leak test, you can read through those steps if you want to. I don't have anything in that or testing documentation. I don't have anything in testing documentation. Repairing leaks, 240. Remember like what that guy said, what kind of fitting is that? You can't just tighten that stuff up.
That's a swage lock.
Swage lock fitting. Sometimes you can just tighten that stuff up.
Said a little bit.
But you don't want to risk, if you have a lot of pressure on something, you need to shut it down. And that way you don't pull those ferrules off the end if somebody didn't put that thing together right. But a lot of times it's just tightening up a little bit. I've also seen, when I was at Goodyear, like Goodyear was a union plant, I wasn't allowed to do anything. But they would send me around. I had a device with headphones and I could go look for air leaks.
Yeah, we got one of those.
Yeah.
I need that.
They would send me around. 52-acre plant. I did that a lot as an intern.
So it's just like, it'll detect like.
It just like
It's like a
It's like-
gun with a really long nose.
It
Yeah.
sounds to me like they were
Oh,
just getting
Yeah.
huh?
It sounds to me like they were just getting ready. They're like, ah, here, go do this.
I've been
That's
doing
exactly
that.
what
I've
they
been
had me do the arc flash system for a year, and then they needed something else for me to do because I got that done quick. But I didn't mind because I was getting paid $20 an hour and I could work whatever hours I wanted to. Good college job. But I had to, like, whenever I found leaks and stuff like that, like I had to put in a work order for somebody from maintenance to go take care of stuff. And I saw guys go, like, I was like, that valve is leaking or something like that. And like, it was a bigger valve. And that dude went and got like a 3-pound hammer and hit it and it quit leaking.
This is when you was like getting your bachelor's.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I
like I
think it's the man, $20 an hour, and you get the work done as you want, then you get all the parties off. It was the man.
That was an awesome college job. It was about an hour away from school though, but it was worth it, especially in 2009.
Yeah.
You know,
You're basically getting like 35 an hour.
I was sick.
Repairing leaks. Second sentence in 240. Note that test pressure must also be relieved before attempting any repairs.
Hopefully, yeah. Where is it?
Should be. Second sentence in 240.
I like to work on myself pressurized.
That's a
Okay.
very dangerous practice.
Page 14.
So that's the book.
Paragraph that's right after step 8. The last full sentence in the bottom left of page 14 is highlighted. Before disassembling a tube nut that will be reassembled, or before further tightening a leaking joint, mark the fitting body and the nut as shown in figure 9. So he didn't really talk about that, but you should mark so you know where you're starting from whenever you're tightening up these swage lock fittings, which he knows what he's talking, like he talked about just turning an extra little
At a
bit.
quarter, or if that.
But just so you know where this stuff is. Like it's easy to mark this stuff with like a fine tip marker. Last highlight is on the right-hand side of page 14, that small paragraph, first two sentences. Leaky flanges that are welded in place require new welds for repair. These repair issues must be left to a qualified welder and possibly a pipe fitter. That's what I was talking about when I was at Goodyear. Like that, like one of the welds was leaking on a flange, and he just hit the weld with a hammer and it stopped leaking.
Oh, to like mushroom it a little bit.
Oh my
that's
God.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but when you have no idea that will work or that's what's happening, and you're kind of a dumb college student, you're like, what's this?
He just hit it with a hammer.
About to go do. You fix the problem instantly. All right, you got section review number 2. You've got 15 questions on a mod review, and I'll get you your practice test. Whenever everybody is done with those, we will go over them. Any questions?
How fast is an acceptable time for us to finish?
Whenever everybody's done.
Everybody works